just don't like sitting yet. My back is still, it's better today, but
Oh, your sciatica is still bugging?
yeah, I did so much stretching.
But
All right, good morning and welcome to launch. It is Tuesday and we've got a lot to cover. We're going to be talking about the secret language of Keller Williams, and it is called Kellerisms. And last Tuesday, Regina shared with you about our culture. And the reason we take time to do this, guys, is because our business and our company is unique, and we want you to know what the differences are and why we are the way we are. And when we as coaches or other agents in the office that you hear them using different terms and talking about different things, and you're like, I don't know what they're talking about. This gets you to understand those Kellerisms. If you haven't noticed already, we love a good acronym. Matter of fact, I think almost more than the medical community, not more, but we're equal up there with them of using a good acronym. And so a lot of the things in the terminology and what have you is going to be acronyms. So we're going to get in today on Kellerism. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let me cast for you. Sorry about that. I'm going to cast here in live studio. If you're looking at what classroom we're in the Brookside classroom. You might post that also on the group me. That would be wonderful. And let me find the Brookside room and we will get going. Here we go. All right, all right, now all I have to do is just share screen. We'll up the volume so you guys can hear, and then we will share screen, and here we go to Kellerisms 201. 101 was last week. This is 201. We're going to talk about this. So a lot of you have heard that we are a training and coaching company. It's one of the 4 pillars of this company. When we were born in 1983 in Austin, Texas. That's where Keller Williams International is based, is in Austin, Texas. And when Gary Keller co-founded this business, this company, he did it on 4 pillars: on training, on marketing, on technology, and culture. And so this is going to touch on some of those things today, the training and coaching. So not only do we say we are a training and coaching company that just happens to be in the business of real estate. So let me say that again. Keller Williams is known as a training and coaching company that just happens to be in the business of real estate. So if you ever had doubts how important training and coaching is to the essence of this company, it is what we're most famous for. It's what, if you go on Google and do research on Keller Williams, you're going to find it a repetitive theme. And it's not just me saying that, it's also publications like, it just dropped. It's publications like Training Magazine. Training Magazine is a publication for HR professionals. It's an international publication, and they rate every February, they rate 125 companies in the world that they say have the best training programs of any industry. We've been on the cover of Training Magazine twice, and we've been in the number 2 position twice. We've ranked so high consistently that now they placed us in their Hall of Fame. And the last time I heard, there were less than 20 companies in their Hall of Fame. I think you can't continue to be on the cover because it doesn't sell as many magazines if the same company keeps winning. So this is, and again, we were being compared to any company of any industry. And we've been on the cover twice and we've been #2 twice. So that's outside people looking at our training program and what we do and how we do it and say, wow, you do it really well. And we do. And that's why that's that heavy focus. That's why in this first year as a real estate agent, as a new real estate agent, we have so much training for you to plug into because we understand that your business and you will grow. Well, your business grows to the extent that you do. In our business, you don't have inventory, you don't have equipment per se to run your business. It's you who runs the business. And the more you learn, the better you build your skills and your knowledge, the better you're going to be as an agent and a business owner. And so do not shortchange yourself on the training and coaching that we have available. It is vital to your growth. Otherwise, you're just going to go on your entrepreneurial talents and you'll hit a ceiling. I did that in my first years of real estate. I didn't understand and I didn't have access to the level of training and coaching. Matter of fact, the reason I came to Keller Williams is because everything I'd heard about the training and coaching. And I knew that while my other company, it was a lovely company. However, I knew the weak point was the training and there was no coaching. That wasn't even on the table anywhere. So us with training and coaching, there are different training courses and concepts. So one of them, and I love that this is on this slide because this is what we're going to be exposing you all to next, and that is a course called 36-12-3. It's about lead generation training. You know, Ignite is good, but it's really surface level. It's big picture. I always say it's like snorkeling. Well, when we talk about 36-12-3, that is scuba diving. We're going to go deep into the different lead generation topics so that you can learn it at a very high level. So the concept is this, that you should be able to close 36 transactions in 12 months if you do 3 hours of lead gen per day. And so that's what that course is going to be focusing on. We're going to start it up next month in July, the second week of July, because the first week of July, 4th of July, it's always weird when the 4th of July is kind of like in the middle of the week. It's on Thursday. So I know some of you are going to be out of town and what have you. So we won't be focusing or kicking that off until the second week of July. The 80-20 principle. Have you all heard about that? The 80-20 principle, and it's not just real estate, it's called the Pareto principle. It is, what is your big rock that should be your 20%? And that's meeting and scheduling appointments, converting deals and lead generation. That's your 20%. And your 20% should get you 80% of your results. But the 80-20 principle, you come across it in your world all the time. Think about it. Megan, have you ever been a volunteer someplace and only 20% of the people were doing the work?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever done a group project at school? Do you remember those? I hated group projects. It's not that I don't like working with people. It's just the 80-20 principle would always raise its ugly head. And there'd be a small group doing all the work while the others were just kind of like hanging and barely doing anything and maybe doing nothing. So that always drove me crazy. But it's also true, you probably have heard that 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. So that 80-20 principle is out there amongst us in our lives, and we're experiencing it all the time. 3 L's. That is from the MREA book. And if you haven't read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, you should be. It is where you're going to learn all of this will make more sense when you read that book. And one of the things that Gary focuses on that has to be kind of your business mantra is listings, leads, and leverage. Those are like the three legs of your real estate stool. Okay. Big rocks. Yeah, big rocks. So it is so easy as a small business owner to focus on everything because you've got so many things that you're juggling. And the more you get into this business and the more you get traction, then you're going to be doing more and more. And you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I got to do all of this. And you've got to be careful that you are treating things according to their importance and priority. And so you do have to remember that you got to focus on the large rocks, the important things. If you want to build a successful real estate business and you're doing little to no lead gen because you don't like that part, well, you're not going to have a successful business without that. That's got to be one of your big rocks. And then you have small rocks. That is your training and all of that. Those are the things you need to do. And then the pebbles are creating marketing materials or making sure that you've got the right checklists and that type of thing. And then there's sand and water. So they all fit in the glass differently. And by putting the water first, then the sand, then the pebbles and the small rocks, then the big rocks, they won't all fit. So just the logistics of it, you can't do that. And that's why the big rocks, your priorities, your business and life priorities need to go first. And you need to focus on those. Anytime you are feeling like overwhelmed and what have you, focus on your big rocks. It doesn't mean you ignore everything else, but you've got to prioritize, especially, like I said, as you get busier and busier. Mm-hmm. The other thing is DISC. Okay, all of you, I think all of you, it's in your homework, and I know that I look for it, but we ask you to do a DISC. It's an Abelson's personality assessment system. It's used in the recruiting and hiring process here at KW, and it's something we teach our teams to use, along with some other tools like the KPA, the Keller Personality Assessment. And I know some of you have taken one and not the other. And my assistant Billy, has sent those out to you before. And here's what you need to do. We need both of them. And I know you think, well, I did that already. Well, there are two of them. So, and it's important because your coach is going to go over that KPA with you. Mm-hmm. And it is how we learn how you tick. Well, and we get to know you better by doing the KPA with you. But the DISC is our first indicator. The D is dominant. Think about, do most of you remember people talking about type A personalities, those driven people, those people that are just pounding it out, and that's, so the D in the DISC is the dominant. So that would be the same equivalent as an A. I is influencer. Think of a social butterfly, somebody who loves people, loves parties, loves talking with people. It just, they know no stranger. Somebody with a high I, then they are that social influencer, social butterfly, that influencer, that I. S is steady. You don't like change. And it's okay, but also know that sometimes change comes. We don't have a lot of control over that, but you seek a more steady environment. Yeah, I've got some S in me too. I am a high D, but I like things organized and steady. And then C is you like to follow the rules. And you're not just one of these things. You're a mix of these things.
You're supposed to say compliant.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I need to fix that.
I just noticed that. There we go.
Let me get rid of the other I. Thank you for
Yeah,
catching
yeah.
that. Compliant. Well, see, spell check wouldn't have caught that.
Well,
It is spelled right, but for the wrong word. Compliant. That's why another set of eyes sometimes okay, so those are just some of the training and coaching concepts that I want to introduce you to. And then let's go into some of the actual trainings that you might have heard of. Have you heard us talk about BOLD? BOLD is a training coaching program that comes to our market center once a year. We usually do it in October. It is 7 weeks, once a week. A BOLD coach flies into Kansas City and gives it their all, gives you their all for a day to pour into you. It is accountability at a high level. It is focusing on growing and building your business through lead generation, because that's how we do it. And its acronym is Business Objective Life by Design, BOLD. Business Objective Life by Design instead of default. And many of us, myself included, have lived many years of your life by default. You've let life happen more often to you than you designing the direction and the outcomes that you want to work towards. And this is going to teach you to be purposeful and focused. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I love BOLD. I've taken it over 13 times in 11 years. You could say I'm a slow learner. But really the idea is this. Every year that I take it, I have different takeaways, or there are reminders of things that I need to start doing again. It's not necessarily all brand new material. No. Here's what you'll hear from experienced agents over and over. I know what I should be doing. I know what I should be doing. But I'm not doing it, but I know what I should be doing. So it's not that we don't learn what to do, but because we're human beings, we are terrible at sometimes being a good boss for ourselves and being purposeful, and having the discipline to get the things done, those big rocks done in our business that we should be doing. So BOLD is an amazing environment. The reason I like it in October is because I'll be honest, by October, I'm a little tired, a little worn out from the year and all the work that you've been doing, all the work we've been doing. I'm a little tired and I need to reset my batteries. I need to recharge. And BOLD is a great atmosphere to do that. You're there with other agents who are like-minded and really want to do this. So it's high energy. It's a lot of work over those 7 weeks, but it's work you should be doing anyway. So it's a great kick in the pants in a very good, positive way. But just know it's a lot of energy and you have to participate. Kind of like launch. I tell you, you have to participate. This program doesn't work unless you do. It doesn't. And it doesn't work unless you participate. So BOLD, when it comes in October, it does cost money. There'll be some opportunities to get scholarships that you can apply for to see if you can qualify for that. So if it's something that you want to be able to do, talk to your coach about it. We can help you find ways to be able to do that. And then we do have a reimbursement program that if you close 4 deals, then we'll pay you back in a certain time frame after BOLD. Then we'll pay you back the whole cost of BOLD over 4 transactions, or you'll get a little bit even if you just close 1 or 2. So it's an investment. That's what we do in real estate to grow ourselves and grow our businesses. We do have to invest in building our knowledge and skill. So just going through Ignite and thinking, I got it. I hope that's not your mindset, because there's always room to learn. I learn something new all the time. I've been doing this way long. And that's not me saying I know it all, because I do not. Let's go into some other training and coaching concepts. E to P if you went through Ignite, and you remember in session 1, we talked about the 6 personal perspectives. Those are the things that Gary Keller, after researching and interviewing hundreds of successful agents, he found they had these things in common. And one of them was E to P. And I mentioned it a little while ago. Entrepreneurialism to purposefulness. And it's one of the perspectives in the personal perspectives. And it's the idea of this: we all have natural talents. And you're bringing those natural talents to this new business. And you're probably going to lean on those even more, especially in the beginning, because you're already good at that. And that's what I always say. When you step into real estate, lead with what you're good at, and you will learn the other things, because there's so much else to learn, but just focus on what you're already good at. So if you've been a project manager in the past, that's a great talent and skill to have and to bring into real estate. If you've been in the hospitality business and you really understand what it means to provide amazing customer service, then lead with that, because you're already good at that and you get it. What happens though, and it happened to me, is the E to P. So in my real estate business, I got to a point where I couldn't get past a certain goal. I would keep making I'd sell the same amount of sales volume a couple of years in a row. And I'm like, well, do I work more hours? I was already working horrific hours. I didn't know what would make the difference because I wasn't exposed to the training and coaching that we have here. So I just didn't know. So I just thought I'll work harder. Well, that was the plan for burnout, right? And it wasn't until I came here that I understood that to get past my ceiling, I had to learn and do things differently, or do things more, or I had to understand that just my natural talents usually hit a ceiling. That's why, think about it. Any professional athlete, have they done it on their own and gotten to those high accolades, or have they done it with training and coaching? Because they got to a certain level because of their natural abilities. But to get them past their natural abilities, they had to have that coaching and training to get them there. So don't get yourself stuck on, I got this, I can do it, I'm smart. I got smacked around a little bit in the beginning. I thought, hey, I can pretty much wing it. I'll be fine. I don't need to learn scripts. And then I had to get smacked around at a listing appointment and realize, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to handle their objections and questions. And that didn't feel good. And I was determined never to let that happen again, because my natural abilities were not enough. Makes sense? And then Ignite, that is the action-oriented training. It's a course of skills and habits to learn about building and running a real estate business. And Ignite, like I said, is an overview, and it is not in depth. And that's why we're going to go to the 36-12-3. Then family reunion. Oh, what is family reunion? So there are 2 annual events that Keller Williams does. They do some other ones, but these are our 2 big events. So think of them as our 2 big conventions, and family reunion is the biggest. It's an annual conference, and it's for all Keller Williams agents, associates, staff. It's held in February each year in a various locations, always a warm weather location. So it is a lovely reason to go out of town and leave Kansas City in February, because I don't know about you, but by February, I've had it with the weather. I don't want to put on a coat, even though it's cold out. I'm like, I'm done by February. And you get to see Gary Keller live on stage a lot. You get to see some of the best agents in the country and in the world. And then they have, so they have big stage events, and then they have breakouts on actually every single topic you could think of having to do with real estate, even team building, mindset, just everything, lead generation. So there's usually over 100 breakout sessions. The hardest thing is figuring out what you're going to attend. And then the event closes with inspirational brunch, inspirational morning. And that is a time where we show our charitable heart in full force. And it is us. Usually there is an inspirational speaker that comes and pours into us, and then we share a story, usually of that inspirational speaker, someone who has, and it's not always real estate at all, someone who gives back in their community at a high level. And some of those stories, oh my gosh, I always have tissue because I'm not a big crier, but I will weep at these things. Yeah. Because they're so touching. And then also during family reunion, we do have special keynote speakers. This last February, oh my God, we had 2 powerhouse speakers. We had Mel Robbins, okay. Who she is amazing and phenomenal. And then we had Tony Robbins. So I don't know any, I mean, those are like 2 of the biggest inspirational speakers out there. And we had them both in one event. And it was pretty mind-boggling. There was just so much coming into my little pea brain. I was like, woo! I always take a ton of notes, and it's really phenomenal. And here's a little helpful hint. Here's what my husband and I do many times. Since you go to different places for family reunion, we'll schedule to go in 2 or 3 days in advance and do some vacationing in that spot. And then I do business, so we can write some of it off. It's a great way to go someplace that you might not go. And I know this next year it will be in Las Vegas. So I'm not a gambler. I do like to watch it because there's such interesting people and people watching. But I like to go to shows. So I've seen Elton John, I've seen Cher, I've seen some fabulous shows in Las Vegas. So, and we saw a great show this last February called Absinthe. It was a little racy, but all fun, and it was acrobatic too. So it was kind of Cirque du Soleil with an edge, with an edge. And it was in this big tent, like a circus. I don't know. It was very cool. So think about family reunion, put that on your bucket list that you want to do that, and do that sooner than later. And maybe incorporate some vacation time either before or after. It makes it really fun. So here's, like I said, we had Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins this last year, and I'll be excited to see who comes and joins this next year in February. And it's huge. So yeah. I'm just going to tell you, if you cannot do crowds, this may not be the event for you, because they were, I think they said there were like 17,000 this year.
Oh my gosh.
17,000 Keller Williams people.
That's a lot of people in one place. I don't know that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
The crowds don't bother me, and so I'm fine with it. And you just have to be okay that you're just weaving in and out, and it takes a while to get around, but you do get to meet amazing people. That's the other benefit of these events that we really emphasize is make connections. Find agents in different cities and become referral partners with each other, because we want you to build up a referral network of other agents across the United States or the world that you can refer to, and they can refer you if they have any of their people coming to Kansas City. So it's an amazing thing to do, and just meeting all the different people. It's one of the reasons I really look forward to family reunion is I get to see people that only get to see like once or twice a year that I've met over the years at family reunion or mega camp, and it's wonderful. Okay, other. Okay, you probably hear some terms like ALC. What is ALC? Well, think of it as our agent board of directors here in this office. Every Keller Williams office has their own agent leadership council. And that agent leadership council is made up of, and there's not a specific number. It can be different every year, and it is top agents in our office that have been in by invitation only, have been asked to take a leadership role for no less than 1 year. And so anything that goes on with the office, be it policy, procedure, or budgetary financial issues, then David doesn't get to make those decisions all by himself, even though he's the franchise owner. That's why we see agents as our partners. And as partners, you need to have voice in the running of this office. So if you have a great idea that you want to propose for the office, or you have a concern, go to an ALC member, and they are your representation in this office. I mean, you can always come to staff and leadership, but just know that those ALC members are here to support you and this market center. Allied resources are the people in positions to help each other reach their goals. They're individuals you've met that you expect either to do business with or receive leads from, like service providers. In our world, you'll hear the term allied resources. IALC. Okay, the International Associate Leadership Council. So there's an international version of the ALC, and it is made up of leadership representatives from each of the regions across the United States and the world. And so each region has, like, I think 2 people, and then they meet yearly at family reunion and have an agenda. So they'll be talking about if there are any major changes in policy with Keller Williams International, then they would be the ones making those decisions and discussing those. APR. Have you heard about people capping? Do you know what that means? So that means that that is an agent who now is receiving 100% of their commission because they paid off what they owed to the office. We call that company dollar. What you owe to the office is company dollar. And then that franchise royalty fee to Keller Williams International. When they have paid off both of those things, then an agent gets 100% commission until the end of their anniversary date. So remember, whatever month you joined us is your anniversary date. So you reset every year on your anniversary. And so after your first year, I want you to really be thinking about, how can I get to 100% the fastest? We have agents in this office who get there in 1 month. So for 11 months, they get 100% of their commission. Wouldn't that be lovely? So be thinking along that way of, how can I build up a pipeline of potential business so that I can cap sooner than later, instead of just waiting until it happens. Be purposeful. It's, and here's something you may or may not know, that most big box national or international companies like us, full service, the highest commission you can get to is 95%, no matter how many houses you sell. In Keller Williams, you can get to 100%, and I think that's awesome. I so wish I had been under this model when I was an agent. Oh my goodness, because you can make so much more money. And again, it's us saying, we're not, while we have to make money as a company and as an office, yeah, come on, we have to make money, but we're letting our agents get to a point where all you have to do is contribute this. And then after that, so it's selling just a hair over $2 million in houses. That's capping. So if you wanted to think of it this way, for you as a new agent, you sell 8 houses, and the average sales price is, let's say, $275 of those 8 houses, then you would get to capping. And you want to do that before you reset on your anniversary date so that you could get some 100% commission. Okay. I think it's important that you know these things. That's why I'm always a little surprised that not as many people come to this class. They're like, oh, I don't need to know that. But actually, you're missing out on some things that you will understand how and what we do better. Core services, those are services like loans and KC, title, platinum title, and the others who pay for an opportunity to be in business with you and with us. So these are our service providers, our preferred companies that we do business with. We have a service provider list. What they do is they buy into a marketing program, and there are different levels of that. If you ever come across a service provider who says, I'd like to be part of your office and I'd like to have opportunities to like teach a class or get in front of your agents, then get them with Yvette. She can tell them what the program is. And they help, you need to know, they help pay for a lot of our bells and whistles, like our coffee and our coffee machine. That comes out of this budget, the service providers. Our beer on tap, comes from that. So they allow us to have that extra money to provide some of the bells and whistles. DFI, what's the DFI? Director of First Impressions. That's the front desk. So this is an individual on staff that answers the phone and greets the guests. They're also do so much more. So the DFI is also logging in checks, commission checks, and so many other things. So always give them grace because they do so much and everybody comes to them as they should, but just know sometimes they're being pulled in a lot of different directions. KWRI, what's that? That's Keller Williams Realty International, and that's our corporate offices located in Austin, Texas. See these acronyms and how we love them. MC, we don't call this an office, we call this a market center. MCA, that would be Rebecca Blair in this office. She's the market center administrator. She is that, and then the assistant MCA is Rochelle. So think of Rebecca as operations. She oversees the operations of the office. Rochelle is the money person. So she does the accounting and the bookkeeping and disperses the commission checks. So always be nice to them. And so that's what they do. And they also work with leadership for creating an environment nobody wants to leave. So they are also focused on retention and making sure everybody's okay. But that's really on all of the staff and all of the leadership that we hope that we've helped with your help, created an office environment that you never want to leave. Mega agent. The production level of a mega agent is usually identified as someone who closes 6 million in closed volume or more per year. So you're going to hear the talk about what's a mega agent, who's a mega agent. Okay. I bet if we did averages, the mega agents would have a higher closed volume. Yeah. I think. Yeah. OP. You're going to hear us talk about David Kunderman is OP. That's operating partner. We used to have more than one owner of this. We had an ownership group when I first started of like 5 owners, and now they have David has bought them all out. But usually if there's a group of owners, then one is the representative of the group to Keller Williams International. So David's always been that person, even when there was an ownership group. Now he is by default that person because he is the one who owns. PC, productivity coach, that's me. This is the person that helps newly licensed agents in their first year of business and other agents seeking coaching and consulting at a local level. Not all market centers have this position, and I will tell you, very few of them have a full-time me.
Right.
Most of them are part-time, and they have real estate businesses on the side. Now that's my launch coaches. My launch coaches are doing this part-time and they have real estate businesses. But as a PC, it is very rare that you have someone in this position full-time. And I have one of the longest longevity or tenure because I go to these yearly conferences and I meet PCs and we have different breakouts and stuff. And there's not as many of us that I started with. Matter of fact, there's just like 2 or 3. Because there's a lot of turnover in this position normally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You do a lot of work, that's for sure.
RD, and RD is a regional director. So Keller Williams is made up into, there's about 35 regions in North America.
Okay.
And a regional director oversees the operations of that area. So we have Greater Heartland region is our region, and it's 5 states. And so there's a regional director, David Barroso, oversees that. So he's meeting and having meetings with OPs every week. He's meeting with OPs, and then they have regional events and that type of thing. I went to one in, where was it that Rebecca and David and I went? I think to St. Louis. No, where'd we go? Yeah, I think it was St. Louis. I don't even remember. It was a road trip. Yeah, it had to be St. Louis. We went earlier this year, and then they just pour into you about running a market center, pouring into your agents, all of that. A TL, a team leader. Instead of, we're a little bit different. When I was with my former brokerage, I was the supervising or managing broker.
Okay.
So I was the broker and what we would say the team leader here. So the team leader is the leader of the office under David. Their main task is to grow our market center and to train and consult. And they report directly to David. And so that is a little bit different than other companies. So we have our broker just focusing on broker issues, which I will tell you is a lot easier than trying to be a managing broker. Because I not only had to, in my old position at my old company, I had to handle all the broker issues. I had to also do all the recruiting. I also had to manage the staff. It was a lot on the plate. And so I like it that we kind of break this out, because otherwise that's a huge.
Who is our TL?
TL is Dustin Delaney.
Okay,
Yeah, he's new. Dustin is new. He's already been working his little tail off.
Yes.
Luxury homes, that is a community. We don't call them divisions anymore. We call them communities, where agents are consistently selling homes in the luxury arena and can be part of a member of the luxury homes community. So there is something you pay for that, but they have their own special events. And Blake Nelson goes to all of those.
What is the luxury home?
It's a different price point in every market, but it's about 700 and more. Yeah. And I forget how many of those you have to sell to then qualify.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay to be part of this community. But they have specialized marketing, and then they have a network of luxury agents that they can refer to each other. And they have their meetings in really nice places.
Yeah.
I've been to Boca Raton, because usually it was at the same time as Coaching Skills Camp, another training thing that I would go to quite often. There's farm and ranch. They now just say land. There's a commercial. There's worldwide, because we're international. So if that division for commercial also, that costs you something to be part of these communities. But just know, if that's going to be part of your specialization, then you might seek out to be part of these communities because of the additional, there's like in the commercial division, there's extra training that you can get through that division, and lands the same way. And then they usually have regional people that are kind of a key person in a region to help. So I love that. And then worldwide, if you come from a different country, then there can be opportunities for you to introduce maybe agents from your home city or town to Keller Williams, and they open a franchise, an international franchise. That can be pretty exciting.
Mhm.
KW Young Professionals. Okay, are you in KW and under the age of 40? Well, no, not me. But you can be a member of the KW Young Professionals Division and join a group of agents across the country and locally. Jazz Benabo, who is an agent in our office, she is one of the leaders of this Kansas City area KW Young Professionals, and they have special events. I know she just came back from their national or international event.
I didn't know she could.
I saw all her pictures and she said it was fabulous. So they do different networking events and have speakers and that type of thing. I
Mhm.
think I'm going to try and get her at a Wednesday Night Warriors so she can tell everybody more about this,
Mhm.
because I think it's such a great opportunity, and that we want to expose you all to.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we doing on time? We're doing good. Let's talk about profit share. You may have heard something about profit share and go, I don't know what that is. Actually, when I'm talking to new people and they're getting their license, I don't go into this much because there's just so much to share that this is something I feel like you can learn about later, but I want you to know about it because if you choose to participate in profit share, it can be phenomenal.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is it can create passive income for you. So here's how it works. Do you remember when you were signing all your paperwork with a vet and you had to watch this video and sign this sponsorship agreement? And in that sponsorship agreement, you had to say who was responsible, who was the main person responsible for you being part and joining Keller Williams.
Mhm.
It's sometimes the first person you talk to and sometimes the last person you talk to, but who really influenced you in a good way, positive way, because we don't ever try to like push people to name us as a sponsor. That's wrong. We just want to we've been so supportive and like a guide and been encouraging people that this might be a good fit for them. And that's who you name as sponsor. And when you name someone as a sponsor, know this, they are your sponsor for life. You do not get to say, well, I don't like them now. I don't want them anymore. That's not how it works. So you have to be very thoughtful. Sometimes it's a family member. Maybe your sister is a KW agent in South Carolina. And she said, if you're going to get your license, you're going to go to KW. And that's A-okay. Maybe it's an agent here who you've known for ages, or it could be somebody you co-op with that you introduce to our world and say, hey, if you love training, maybe you'd find a here. We don't ask you to recruit hard and heavy. We don't want you breathing recruiting breath on anybody. We just want you to share, invite them to trainings, show them our value. You do not have to force it on anyone. Matter of fact, it doesn't work if you try to force it on someone or say, why are you with that company? That company sucks. We don't do that. It's about being in a relationship and supporting someone and showing them, here's what we have. Is this something that you think would be good and helpful for you? And then you connect them. If they're a brand new person, you're going to connect them with me, meaning they're not even licensed or they're new licensed. Then you connect them with me. If they're in production, then you connect them with Dustin. And I can certainly help with that, to make sure that you get that connection. And then we don't breathe heavy on them either. We actually help them see what we offer and see if that's something that they think would be beneficial for them and their business. So although recruiting is a big focus of what we do, because we have to keep growing in order to be able to provide everything that we provide. And we have attrition, just like any industry, any company, any office. We have people that leave real estate or leave our office. So we're continuing to grow. And the more we grow, I don't ever want anybody to think, oh, we're getting too big. What the downsides are far outweighed by the upsides.
Mhm.
Think of it this way. It also allows you to tap in to more agents for their talents, for their listings for open houses,
Mhm.
for their expertise, for all of that you get more of. And so, and then we have more market share because we have such amazing agents in our office. So that also gets you street cred
Mhm.
when you're with an office that has agents that other agents recognize and respect, and that we sell a lot of houses out of this office. So profit share is where if someone names you as their sponsor and they get into production and start closing transactions, then that portion of the money that they share with the office, that company dollar, remember I talked about that? Then because this doesn't come out of their side. I mean, it comes out of the office's side of the money when it's split, okay? So at the end of the month, what happens is this: we pay our bills here, the office does expenses, and then the remaining money, the profit for that month, is split two ways. About 60% of it goes to David because, you know, he put up the money for all of this,
Mhm.
and continues to. And then the other percent, the 40%, go to agents whose sponsorees close deals the previous month, that month. So like, and we always get paid. Do you remember you had to fill out a deposit form
Mhm.
for your a checking account or a bank account of some kind? You're like, what? That's to deposit money in, not to take money out. So that if you do have profit share, it goes in automatically the 21st of every month. You can actually go on your KW agent app and you can see how much money you made this month. So I can see how much money I made in May. I can also see my year-to-date total. So usually I make anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 a year in profit share.
That's great.
That has been a tremendous help. It can be, I used in the when my daughter was in college, I used profit share to help me pay my portion of her tuition without having to take a loan. That's how helpful it was.
Yeah.
It is also a great retirement. Um, because remember, we don't have normal 401ks with contribution. And to get the return that I've gotten over the years, and I don't share this number to brag with you. I share this number to show you potential. In 11 years, and the first 2 years, I didn't make much money. I didn't. I think I made like $300 my first year. But over 11 years, I've made over $91,000. Now, here's my only regret is I was purposeful with some of it, but I wasn't purposeful with all of it. So I changed, it now goes into my savings account. I was putting it under my checking account. You know how easy it is to spend money when it just goes right in there.
Oh, yes.
So I wish I'd been more purposeful with some of that money. I have been with, like I said, with some, but I just kind of that I'll give you that tip. I'll share that tip of I would recommend that. Okay. Lead gen and contact management. Yeah, lead generation. It should feel weird if you're not lead generating, says Gary Keller. Yeah. Oh, these are the different lead gen and contact management concepts. The 8x8, that's eight touches over 8 weeks. I actually would say, um, because of how quickly people want information and responses, I say the 8x8 is more like 8 touches in 2 to 3 weeks.
Mhm.
12x12 means you're sending something to someone once a month for 12 months. The 33 touch we now say is 36 touches. And what that means is everybody on your database should be hearing from you no less then 3 times a month in different ways. That means like a personal touch or an email, through social media, snail mail, pop-bys, calls, all of that, text messages, that they should hear from you no less than 3 times a month.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds like a lot. Okay. All right. I'm going to end it right there. Let me see if I can get through anything else before E&O. That's your errors and omission insurance. Remember that we all have that.
Mhm.
And either you're paying it through your office bill, or if you don't have an office bill, then that $4.95 transaction fee helps to pay that. GCI is gross commission income. That is prior to any of the splits or anything that you pay out. That's the lump sum of the commission check. Transmittal is when the office, right after the end of the month, this is when Rochelle will have a sign on her door and saying, it's transmittal,
Yeah.
do not
Take my time.
interrupt.
Yeah.
That's when she is balancing all the books, and then she has to, by the 3rd day of the new month, has to transmit all of our numbers to Keller Williams International, or we get fined. She usually does it in one day, sometimes 2 days. It depends on the month, but which is cool. Company dollar, remember what I said? That's the money that you pay. It's that commission split that you pay towards the office and everything that you get here. Paid on volume, that's closed sales volume on which the agent is paid until you cap. And then the last is the 135 is part of your business plan. That is something that you will be doing with your launch coach. The 411 is also part of the 135 and business plan. The 135 is, what are your 3 forms of lead gen that are your priorities, and then what activities you're going to do. And the 411 is where you take all of that and put it into a monthly, weekly schedule. And then that's all we got.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you all being on board and learning some of that crazy secret language of ours so that you can have a better understanding of what we're talking about. If for any reason you hear us use some terms and you go, I don't know what that means, stop us and ask us. We get to where we're using the terminology and we make assumptions everybody knows. So never hesitate. And let's go and listen to David in the business meeting. Got some great information today. And so we will see you there, either on the Facebook page or in person. See you soon. Bye.